art is not a painting or a drawing or a sculpture or any one thing that gets created. It's the way you live your life. The draw of skateboarding was 50% riding a skateboard. The other half of it was the culture. Skateboarding let me be completely creative. There was no limit. Whatever I could see in the landscape, I could create. My art and music stuff that I was doing or involved in sort of became what made me stand out in skateboarding. Being able to do an ad and being able to design other people's graphics, do all these different things related to the creative and the business side of skateboarding that pretty much educated me and gave me an audience and gave me a platform to speak from. Skateboarding was keeping arm's length away from snowboarding at the early days, but you could see the influence of it and the freedom of snowboarding, which was that the tricks they could do could be bigger, further, jumping higher, doing things that we were imagining on skateboards, but that they actually had the loftiness with the airs to do on snowboards. I had collaborated with DC on a number of different things when they first started. Ken came back to me at one point and said, hey, I'm gonna start a snowboard line. Would you do some artwork? And we rapped back and forth about what that might look like. He's like, it'd be cool if it was like old skate art, and I can't remember exactly the words that were said, but it's, after about a 20-minute conversation, we were like, okay, let's draw the art with paint pens on grip tape like we used to do on our skateboards and make the graphics of the snowboard feel like the deck of a skateboard. And that was sort of a statement, I think, on Ken's part to say, hey, this is an evolution of skateboarding. The end result turned out pretty good. I think it was 7 snowboards at the beginning that we launched with, and it was an honor to be able to help him, launch that brand. In 2019, having done collaborations with brands like DC and all the graphics for skateboarding that I had done and apparel and artwork and, all these different things, definitely one of the higher points of the last 20 years, 15 years of my life. So coming off of this total high, 2 months later, we had a fire and our house burned down. Literally 30 years of art, design, apparel, everything I had collected and created, everything that was our lives of the day, our clothing, our shoes, everything was gone. Over 500 pieces of artwork, all the old skateboards from my career and from a career of creating for my friends' companies, shoes that I had collaborated with brands like DC. All these things were destroyed. It's hard to even describe what it means to lose that. It took my wife and I a long time to get to the point where we were feeling like we were standing on solid ground. And then this magic thing happened. All of a sudden, a friend of mine from Australia reached out and he's like, dude, I'm gonna do something. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but just sit tight, we're gonna figure it out. I started to reach out to artists, tell them, hey, this collection that, was eventually gonna become a museum at some point is gone. I think the first person I called was Dalek, and I told him about it, and he had just done a big painting that he had given me, and he was just like, he goes, brother, don't worry about it, man. It's like, I'll make you another painting. I just started to tear up, it's like, whoa, that feels incredible that somebody would care enough to even say that. And he's like, dude, with everything that you've done and everybody you've touched, you call up every single person in that collection, they're all going to say the same thing I'm saying to you, And there was a little tiny glimpse of light. It was dark. I felt really, really down. And that little glimpse of light was enough to sort of turn me away from the darkness. Even though the fire that we had was caused by an electrical fire, We had been evacuating for years from the wildfires. This idea that we were going to rebuild our dream house in Calabasas, that just kind of went out the window. Let's go back to the East Coast, stay in Kitty Hawk, kind of where I grew up. It took about a year to start to get to the point where those creative juices started flowing again and things started coming to me. And I kind of looked around, I thought, man, like this place is beautiful, mysterious, wild, and free. Like, it still feels mysterious. It's still wild here. And there's a freedom to do pretty much anything. And then this collaboration came up with DC. We started to sort of form what the idea was going to be. It felt really organic, and it felt also collaborative on the heels of everything I had just gone through, almost like a way to kind of solidify or commemorate this rebirth that was going on. I wanted to do something to sort of, in a way, give back, pay homage to where I grew up, but also because I'm inspired to be here. So it was cool. I sort of rediscovered the things I loved about the Outer Banks through the artwork that I was doing. It was killer to be able to put like the little tiny little messages in there, me pluribus unum for like the Capitol building, and like the Zero Sophisto graphic, and the names of all these rad graffiti artists that I knew, and my old graffiti crew from Atlanta, and like Love Park with the Broken Heart, because they took away all the skating and tore down the stuff. And you know, Jeff Pang, who is here, I guess he's in Central Park, like doing a rail slide. Kalis, man, is still killing it. A little bit of graffiti and some stickers and some famous old skate spots from New York all the way down to Atlanta. It was nice to be able to take the things I had just been doing in my old sort of graffiti skate art style and put that all together with new inspirations and things into the board for DC. I spent a lot of time in my life, in my earlier life, trying to get to where I was going, trying to get to where I thought I was supposed to be. And the greatest realization I can say I have at my age is that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be every moment of every day. And recognizing that and allowing that to be the case is what allows me to remain in the moment and be creative on a day-to-day basis. There's so much love in this creative community that we're all a part of and we're all connected by, not just because we were in some early days of skating or graffiti or hip hop or punk rock or whatever it is, but we all care so much about the creative and this process. In the midst of all the loss was this rebirth, you know, that started to happen. Giving a piece of artwork away isn't hard when I'm giving it to somebody who loves it and who cares about it the same way I do. And I think that the people who are in my life realize that. Having people give that back to me was so touching that it expanded my understanding not only of, my life, but of the community and the love that surrounds us.